and Delilah, as this is our year of becoming, that this is our theme for 2019, that if we are going to take the next steps into who God intended for us to be, how can I ever take those steps if I'm not aware and I am not on top of that which is harming me and maybe even killing me, because there's some stuff that we love that doesn't love us. And there's some stuff that we love that is hurting us and harming us from pursuing our full purpose and living out our full potential. And until we are at least aware of the toxic environments and people and even mentalities that we have in our life, we will never be able to thrive. We will never be able to fully walk into the purpose that God has intended for us. And so this series is more than about what you've done or where you've been. It's up for you to make up in your mind that I'm going to move past my past and resolve to press through my present to experience God's intended future for my life. My belief, I said at the beginning of this series, is that this year has the potential and the capacity to be life-changing. But you must know that this year will only be different when you become committed to being different.
Amen.
Amen. That there are some of us who want change to happen, but we don't want to do change.
Right.
Right? So we want things to just magically fall into place. I want to just roll over and my life is better. I want to just roll over. Yeah, I just roll over and it's just here. I just roll over and I'm married. And I went to sleep single, I rolled up, married to a good spouse at that one. Yes, that's the problem. We're saying like all of that takes work. It takes conscious decisions and effort. I just want to roll over and be debt free. Yeah, all of this stuff takes work, and some of us, we have made up in our mind. We spend most of our lives and most of our time trying to do stuff instead of focusing on who we could become. And so we make these goals about what I want to do instead of goals about who I want to become, and we found ourselves stuck. Because you've got great at activity, but not great at being who God called you to be.
Amen. Say that.
So your character, your integrity, your life structure doesn't match your goals. And it's quiet.
No.
You want this, but you don't want to become this to get it.
Right.
Or you want this, but you don't want to become this to sustain it.
Right.
You want a good friend, but you don't want to be a good friend.
Amen. Amen on that.
And so this year has the capacity and the potential to be different, but only when you become committed to being different. And this will only happen when you are committed to the non-judgmental conversations with yourself, about yourself, to say, I am not where I thought I was, but I'm going to get better. I did not do this the way I could have done it. I did not do this the way I should have done it, but I'm going to do better.
Amen.
I haven't been who I thought I was, but that's okay. I'm going to get better.
Amen.
And you will not make up in your mind you can become better and you will do better until you realize you have not been where you could be. Because some of us have been lying to ourselves about ourselves, so you think you're better than you really are.
Right.
Amen.
You ever met somebody that think they can play ball? Like they just swear they can hoop. Like they got the full outfit down, the whole full sweatsuit, socks and the J's. You can't tell them nothing until they hit the court. Got the sleeve on, yeah, maybe they used to show they had a sleeve. Then they would have the knee brace. Right? They were just ready. They were just too ready until you picked them up on the squad.
Amen.
And you discover that all of the time and very often we think we're better than we really are in certain regards. But here it is. It's okay to admit I'm not what I thought I was if I want to become it. I just got to take the steps to becoming it. But if I keep lying to myself, telling myself I don't need to work at it, I don't need practice, I don't need to pray more, I pray enough.
Amen. Come on.
If we keep lying to ourselves about ourselves, we will always remain where we are. And so this is about non-judgmental conversations with ourselves about yourself. And this is not, again, this year for us is not about elevation, not just going higher. It's about evolution. It's about evolving. It's about growing. And I've made this very clear. my belief for most of us in here, if we just be honest, we have to grow up.
Amen.
Paul says, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child, but when I became, I put away childish things. That as I get older, I ought to evolve. I should not be doing and thinking and processing and spending like I did years ago.
Amen.
My relationship should be different.
Amen.
Stuff should be different. I talked about this on Tuesday. We are afraid of saying I'm different and being okay with being different. So I'd rather settle and live on a level that is less than because I want to fit in with everybody else. And then we're mad when my life look like their life look.
Come on with it.
So you don't want to be different, but you want a different life than they have, but you want to do what they do, live how they live, and you want a better life.
No.
But Jesus said, I have come that you might have life and life more abundantly. But in order to get it, he says, I have set you apart. 1 Corinthians 2:9, he says that you are a holy, and you are his precious people. You are a holy generation. That he set you out apart. He took you out of darkness, placed you into his marvelous light. Set apart and holy, sanctified. It's to be different. It said, Jesus said, if the world hated me, no, it's going to hate you. So if they like you, it's a problem. You don't got beef with nobody. I challenge how hard you stand on your convictions.
Amen. Come on with it.
They used to call them chameleon Christians. It's just a problem. You can just fit into any kind of room too easy.
Amen.
And it's one thing if you don't quite disturb the room, Ms. V. It's another thing if the room don't disturb you.
Amen.
Y'all can sit anywhere and talk to just about anybody, and they might be okay. I'm not.
Amen.
Yeah, certain conversations bother me at this stage in my life. Yeah, certain stuff you say, this is petty, this is a waste of my time, this is a waste of my brain cell. You know what? It's not you. It's me.
Amen.
Right? It's not you. It's not you. Don't change. I change.
Come on.
You stay there if you want to. I can't do this no more.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Amen.
And so it's this idea of growing up. And so here it is. You got to get this. This series will make total sense to some of you all with this statement. Because you have to know that whenever God talks to us about something in our present, it's because our future requires it.
Amen.
So if God saw fit to take us into this year of becoming, to spend time walking us through how to get out of some bondage that's been holding us back, it's because your future requires freedom.
Amen.
And so if he's giving us this word in our present, it's not because he thinks it's cute. It's because he's giving you cues and clues into what you can access if you walk in his word. If he's telling you it in your present, it's because your future will require it. Because some of us walk out of church and we say stuff like, I don't get that. If you don't take the time to figure out where you fit in to what God has to say about your life, is that God's fault or yours?
Yours.
Because I believe in one way, shape, or form, based upon the unique shaping he has for this spiritual family, all of us are in different spaces and places, but I believe the word is living enough for it to hit my house, your house, and your neighbor's house all at the same time.
Yes.
And to speak to you clearly about something in your life. But again, some of you all, you're not bound by money. Money is not your problem. You spend frivolously, but you got it like that.
Amen.
You say, I will walk in it if he says that.
Amen.
But here it is. Some of y'all are bound by pride.
Amen.
It got a little quiet on those amen, so just say amen for the person who can't say it. Here it is. Here it is. 1 John 2:16 says this. It says, all that is in the flesh, all that is in the world is fleshly. So number one, it talks about how our fleshly desires, the lust of the world, causes us to fall. Then it says the lust of the eyes. Everything that we see can cause us to fall. We can be bound by what we see. We can be bound by that which we feel. But then it says that we can be bound by the pride of life. And pride goes before destruction. And a haughty spirit before a great fall. And so some of us were bound by stuff. Some of us are bound by relationships. But some of us are bound by the stuff we lying to ourselves about ourselves about.
Amen.
And because you will not check yourself about yourself, you are falling into a slow pit.
Amen. Amen.
Destined for destruction because you will not look yourself in the mirror and say, "It's something going on with me." If every room you go in is always the other person, you ought to go check something.
Amen.
Every room? Every room.
Amen.
All right. Let's jump into my message for today. I can tell from some of the faces, like, Pastor, I really came to hear you tell me some more of this Sunday school story about Samson and Delilah. But what you will discover about this particular story is that if God wants us to get out, you got to discover how it is you got in.
Amen.
So if you are going to escape the bondage that you're in, you got to go back, retrace your steps into how you got in there. And so the first week we're talking about this idea of, is it worth it? Right? Is it worth it? Is what you're doing worth it? Is what you're sacrificing worth it? Are some of your decisions worth it? Are some of your nights out worth it? Are some of the people you hang around worth it? Are some of the stuff you buy? Where have you ever bought something and woke up and said, "Why did I do this?"
Amen.
Yes.
Yes.
Why? Why do I have all of that? I don't even like that color, but I bought it. Color ain't gonna look good on my skin. Is it worth it? And there's some stuff that we buy, and there's some people that we are around, and there's some people that aren't worth our time, but we give them it anyway. And places that aren't worth our time, but we give it anyway. And that week, I told you very clearly, if you're not willing to ask the question, is it worth it? You will lose everything that's at stake, because if you're going to walk in your potential, you have to know that advancement requires confidence, and confidence requires clarity.
That's good.
Amen.
Right? We're talking about this entire time. That if you're going to walk in it, if you're going to make a difference, you got to become clear about what's not working.
Amen.
You got to become clear about what's held you back. You got to become clear about where you're stuck. Because some of us are misdiagnosing the problem. You're blaming your ex for what they did and they done moved on. You're blaming your last employer that fired you and they done hired 10 more people since then, but you still don't have a job because they let you go.
Amen.
Am I making sense?
Amen.
I take the slack from what your last 3 pastors did to you. It was real quiet. I got to become clear about what's not working. I got to become clear about what's held me bound, because I will never get free from that which I misdiagnosed. I can never be healed from that which I misdiagnosed. So I keep blaming the problem on everybody else. If Samson blamed this problem solely on Delilah and not his fact that he didn't get up, he misdiagnosed the problem. Because his problem wasn't Delilah. His problem was himself. He shouldn't have kept playing with her.
Amen.
And some of us have negated this story and say Delilah was the problem. No, Delilah was the enemy. But he gave in. And so as long as we all keep lying to ourselves, saying that the problem is the enemy and not me, the enemy's doing his job. That is his response. His job is to tempt you. His job is to test you.
Amen.
So if you keep falling for it, that's not his fault. That's a check on his box. Got him. Yeah. So it's not a. So you got to see this thing differently, because if you keep misdiagnosing it, you won't be able to get past it. And so here it is. I don't have time to work through it before, because I want to make sure you get this. And so I talked about, is it worth it? That was 1 week. I talked about how it costs too much. That losing your faith will cost you. Your focus will cost you. Your fortitude will cost you. Talked last week about how you cannot keep doing this, right?
Okay.
You can't keep being impulsive. You can't keep being impatient. You can't keep searching for outside validation. And you can't keep overestimating your strength. And if you keep doing those things, you're going to continue to be stuck. Because the enemy cannot defeat you. He knows he can't defeat you where you're strong, so he comes after you where you're weak. He knows he can't beat you where you're strong. So he comes after you when you're weak and where you're weak.
Amen.
So you got to become smart where you're weak.
That's true.
That's good.
Because he knows it. Here it is. I want to talk about unintended consequences today. Unintended consequences. Because just because the struggle is real doesn't mean the struggle is right. And your vision can be blinded by your struggle. And so what happens is sometimes we pick our decisions, not realizing that when we pick our decisions, we're unintentionally picking our consequences.
Good.
That every decision we make comes with an unintended consequence. And if we're not aware of that, we will continue to make decisions haphazardly. We will continue to make decisions not realizing that the decision that we made was inaccurate. And if we would have took more time making better decisions, we wouldn't have got where we were. Am I making sense? So what's the unintended consequence? Social science, the social scientists suggested it as this. They refer to it as outcomes that are not the ones foreseen and intended by a purposeful action. Right? So it is an outcome that I didn't foresee. It was one that I was not thinking of. There are 3 types of unexpected outcomes, unintended consequences. The first one is unexpected benefit. This is a positive, unexpected benefit. We call it luck. We call it a windfall. The second one, psychologists suggest, is unexpected drawback. This detriment that occurs after something happens. So it's a disease that occurs after I start doing something positive.
Yeah.
Or there's the perverse result. That which was contrary to what was originally intended. Most of us refer to that as backfire. So our unintended consequences of our decisions, more often than not, backfire in our face.
Yes.
One theorist says it this way. He says there are 5 causes of unintended consequences. The first cause he gives is ignorance. Because we did not take the time to educate ourselves about the decision that we made, we now suffer unintended consequences. Let me give you an example.
Yep.
Yes.
Some of us have bought a car before. That because the dealer said I could afford the car, we didn't do our own budget to see if we could really afford the payments monthly.
Right.
Right.
So because we did not educate ourselves about the interest rates, about insurance, about maintenance on the vehicle, the unintended consequence was you got a car you really couldn't afford just because the finance man approved you.
Right.
Unintended consequence. You went out with somebody, not knowing where they would take you, and you got mad when you got there. Well, you didn't educate yourself on where you were going first.
Amen.
Here goes another one they suggest. Errors in analysis of the problem. So sometimes we go through stuff because we didn't take time to say, how did I get here last time? So we do the same thing we did last time because we misanalyzed the problem.
Amen.
So some of us keep misanalyzing most of our life because we keep blaming people on the problems that exist, not realizing we're the problem.
Amen.
So because you keep misanalyzing the issue, saying, yep, the problem was you, the problem was you, the problem was this, the problem was that, the problem was this church, this place, that place. Everywhere you go, you bring the problem with you because you tend to be
The problem.
the problem.
Amen.
Now, am I making sense?
Yes.
And so sometimes we have this error in analysis that exists. And as we work through this idea, I want to jump right in because I need you to understand this, that the best intentions can have unexpected side effects.
Amen.
And sometimes side effects are better than we expected. But sometimes side effects aren't anything like what we expected. And all of us, at some point or another, honestly, have these 3 kind of people that dwell within us, if you will. I'm going to use people as the comparison. You have the person that you are. You have the person that God intends. And you have the person that you can be based upon the decision that you make.
Amen.
Right? Because who you are is what you're used to doing. You have God's preferred future, His plan, the person He sees when He looks at you, that's another person. And then you have the person who makes decisions. And as you wrestle between those, you've got to understand this reality that just like Samson, all of us are caught in a moment between the decisions that we make.
Yes.
Yes.
That every decision we make has an unintended consequence associated with it. The question is this. The question is, once you discover that every decision has an unintended consequence, can you handle the pressure that comes along with what you just made?
Yes.
Because some of us make decisions, but you weren't ready for the pressure that came with it.
Amen.
And so you made a decision that you couldn't manage. You picked a lifestyle you couldn't keep up with. You picked a person you really didn't want to deal with. They were just cute at the time.
Yes, Lord.
Amen. Come on with it.
look at Samson's life in the few moments we have left, because Samson paints a picture for us, because he was arguably the strongest man who ever walked the earth. Not only was he physically strong, but he was spiritually strong and mentally strong. People loved to hear him speak. He spoke in riddles everywhere he went. So he had all types of strength. His parents were believers. They prayed for him. So he had the potential to do anything that he put his mind to, anything that he put his heart to, but he kept making bad decisions. He was strong and stupid all at the same time. He had potential, whatever, but he kept making bad decisions. And he kept falling for the same traps over and over and over again. But what would happen if we viewed our life, our potential, and our growth differently? I'll give you an example. Most of us don't realize how hard the fight is between us. Have you ever tried to figure out why it's so hard to go to church on some Sunday mornings? Yeah, it's real quiet. I'm the only person who struggles to go to church some Sundays.
That's true.
Thank you, Patrice. Some Sundays it's a fight, not because I don't like y'all, but because it's easy to lay in the bed.
Yes.
Amen.
And to do with y'all most of the time. Most of the time. But it's this wrestling match. But there are unintended consequences associated with it. That every time I let the enemy get my mind like that, I subject myself to his attacks without the medicine that I need to overcome it. So what I do is this: I open myself up for warfare I am ill-equipped to manage by myself.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
So I try to spend my time fighting off what would have been easier. If y'all saw the Magic School Bus, there was an episode talking about the antibodies in our body.
Amen.
So you spend your week without the medicine that you needed to kind of help you fight it off a little bit differently.
Amen.
Am I making sense?
Yes.
So let me give you these points and I'll let you go. So here it is. If you are going to be able to walk in this idea, you've got to understand that strength is not measured in the proving of what you can withstand, but the wisdom of what you should avoid. I'm going to say it again because it's not up there. Strength is not measured in the proving of what you can withstand, but in the wisdom of what you should avoid. And so what happens is this: bound people make impulsive decisions.
Amen.
Yeah, when you're bound, I think that might be up there. When you're bound, you make impulsive decisions. That the bondage of my mentality, that Samson kept making the decision to lay his head in Delilah's lap because he was bound by her beauty. Do you see this picture?
Amen.
It says that he would lay his head back down in her lap after she just tried to kill him the first time. You don't believe it. It's right there. Verse number 13. Until now you have mocked me and told me lies. Tell me how you might be bound. He said, if you weave the 7 locks within my head, this is what will happen, and I'll become weak like any other man. Verse number 14. So while he slept, Delilah took the 7 locks of his hair, wove them together, and she made them tight with the pen. And then she woke him up and tried to get him. And it was a joke all over again. He kept laying his head in her lap. Give me verse number 19. She made him sleep on her knees. He kept putting his head in her lap after she kept trying to kill him. He was bound. And bound people make impulsive decisions because we overestimate our strength. So we just quickly do it. This will shut her up. If this will make this happen. If this will do this, well, if I do this, then I might get this. And if I do this way, I can get this way. And we just quickly make decisions, and you don't realize that there are some things that if you don't think, that you're not able to say, if this is what it costs, if it's going to cost for me to lose this so I can have my freedom, I'd rather lose this to get my freedom.
Amen.
Because my freedom is worth it.
Yes.
And so the enemy tries to manipulate us into making impulsive decisions instead of praying about it first. How many things have you done without praying? You didn't consult with God at all. Well, God wouldn't have put them before me at the bar if they wasn't the person for me. Yeah, but they wouldn't have been my 15th swipe if that wasn't the person. You know, they were number 7, and 7 is a number of completion.
Amen.
Yeah. And it's the 7th day. Look, come through, God. Swipe number 7. have to be, Henry Cloud writes it this way. It says you have to be able to face losing some things in order to do the right thing. But you have to be able to say no to some stuff and no to some people in order to make decisions effectively. Because bound people are making positive decisions. Bound people are also impatient. Yeah, when you're bound, you're impatient.
Yeah.
Like some of us are so bound mentally, so bound by culture that we don't want to wait for anything. We want instant gratification for everything. Give it to me now. I want it now. I want it how I said I want it, when I want it, now. Give it to me now. Samson didn't wait for the one God had for him. Samson was the first thing that he saw that looked good, and he was impatient. And it wasn't the first one. Samson kept doing it over and over again. Delilah was not the first. Delilah happened to be the last. Because if you remain bad, it could take you out. Amen. And I know some people told you all that God is merciful. He is. He's gracious. He is. He's loving. He is. But he's just. And he will not compete with you.
Amen.
For your decisions.
Amen.
He's a jealous God. He says, I will not be mocked. If you want to do that after I gave you an option not to, that's your choice. But every time you do that, you have to expect the unintended consequences. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Amen.
Bound people make impulsive decisions. Bound people are impatient. Bound people search for outside validation. He was so caught up in Delilah affirming him. Delilah was so caught up in the money to validate who she was that she missed what God had. So both of them, instead of pursuing freedom, they both end up bound and they both end up losing.
Oh, okay.
Am I making sense?
Yes.
And some of us are chasing after some stuff, not realizing that what you're chasing has the ability to run you down.
Amen.
So you think you're running after it, it's really running you down.
Amen.
So you're chasing after this stuff and this pursuit, and this, I want more, and I want this, and I want that, and God's not in it, and God's not first, and you're slowly headed toward destruction.
Amen.
So everything else out in your life is out of order and misaligned because of bondage.
Amen.
You tithe last.
Yes.
That's out of divine order.
No.
So if my budget doesn't factor God into it, who am I putting first? Yeah, God, if my tithe ain't off the top, then I'm putting God wherever God fit in. God, let me see. I want to go shopping here. I want to eat this week here. I got this coming up. You know, it's JoJo's birthday. And then, after JoJo's birthday, it's my birthday, God. And I gotta be. I just bought this Gucci bag and Gucci tripping this week, so I gotta go take this back.
Amen.
And whatever I got left, God, you take this $10, because you can bless it and multiply it.
He is on top.
Am I making sense? Yeah. It's this bound mentality that everything else goes first. God goes somewhere where I can fit him in, but I want God to show up when I need him.
Yes.
So he gives us this principle-centered life. Put me first in every area. Put me first with your time. Put me first with your treasure. Put me first here. And he doesn't ask us for as much as we think we do. He does.
Amen.
Have you ever thought about that?
Amen.
He wants 1/10 of your money. 1/10. 100, that's 10. 1,000, that's 100. That's all he wants. He wants a little bit of your time. He wants Sundays for church.
Amen.
Forsake not yourselves, the assembly of the saints together. He wants us to gather for church. He wants us to serve his people.
Amen.
He doesn't really ask us for as much as we think he does.
That's true.
He wants us to wait on him and be of good courage.
Amen.
And if some of us would have waited, we wouldn't have made some of the dumb decisions that we made.
Yes.
So when you put it in that context, most of us are bound by the world and not by anything that has to do with Christ.
Amen.
So Jesus gave us the blueprint. It says, follow how I do this. Walk the way I do this. And as you do this, seek ye first the kingdom of God. Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. No, that's not 6:33. That's 6:24. Double check that. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. We're bound. Bound people search for outside validation. Here it is. Bound people overestimate their strength. You need boundaries. You need boundaries.
Amen.
Amen.
Because here it is. God doesn't need your help.
Amen.
Amen.
But he does need your trust.
Yes.
I think that's up there. God doesn't need your help. But he does need your trust.
It makes sense.
So most of you all are making impatient decisions because you don't really trust God like you say you trust God. Most of us are impulsive because we say we trust God, but we don't act like we trust God. Most of us, if we're going to be honest, we are bound by this cultural mentality because we say we trust God. We really want to say we want to help God. Why are you doing so much? Because I'm trying to help God give me where God wants me to go. God don't need your help.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
He needs your submission.
Yes.
It is 6:33, thank you. So it is 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. He doesn't need your help, he needs your submission. He needs you to submit, to get under his plan for your life.
Yeah.
Amen.
Submission, getting under something. So as I submit, as I get under his plan for my life, he takes away my need to help him, and he gives me his trust, his confidence. He says, I got you if you trust me. And if you trust me, you will live like this. If you trust me, you will walk like this. If you trust me, the principles of your life would be different. You wouldn't keep falling for the same traps of the enemy because the enemy ain't throwing nothing new at most of us.
Amen.
I can't say last time the enemy hit me when that was new. He knows what pushes my buttons every time.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time he threw something new at me. If he did it, well, if he threw it at me, it didn't bother me because it's not my thing.
Right.
Amen.
So I was like, oh, this don't faze me. You like this like, how does the saying go? I'm like rubber and you like glue. Whatever you say, bounce off me, bounce right back to you. When he throws stuff at me that don't matter, it don't bother me.
Amen.
Watching you sit in traffic don't bother me. It bothers me when I sit in traffic.
Amen.
Amen.
Jesus, right.
That doesn't bother me. I mean, I hate it for you, but it's like, that doesn't bother me. That's the wrong person to call. Look, man, why don't you even have my number?
Amen.
He doesn't need your help. He needs your trust. When you trust God, look at this last piece right here. It's in verse number 20, verse number 19. She made him sleep on her knees. She called him and had him shave her head, and then she began to torment him, and his strength left him. And she said, get up, Philistines are upon you. And other times I do just like I did before. I will shake myself free. And he did not know that the Lord had left him. And the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza. And at the ground, and he ground at the mill in the prison. That because of his unwillingness to trust God, he was stuck. Let me get these practical handles and we'll go, because I'm over my time already. Ron, what is it? Point number 1. I got to stop wasting time.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Point number 1, I got to stop wasting time. Point number 2, I got to stop making excuses.
Amen.
Point number 3, I got to start making plans. Point number 4, I got to start trusting God. I'll give it to you again. Number 1,
Stop wasting
I got to stop wasting time. Because most of us think we have more time than we really do. You're not as young as you think you are. Bishop Jake said this to us one time at Project Gideon to change my life. He said it at Gideon, and I was invited to this lunch gathering. And I sat there, there was a ton of people. I mean, names, if I said some names, you'd be like, wow, really? You didn't get the picture? Like, I wasn't there for a picture. I was going to take it all in. And as I was there, he said, you got to stop wasting time. Because you're not as young as you think you are, you're not as old as you think you are. He said you are not as young as you think you are, and you're older than you think you are.
Yeah.
So most of us, we say, I got time, because we think we have time on the clock. And most of us, we don't have as much time as you think. So you limit yourself by how young you are. As if Mark Zuckerberg wasn't in his 20s in college when he built Facebook. So we're wasting time with people that have no value, add no value, don't even like Jesus.
Amen.
Wasting time at places you have no business being at. Where are you wasting time? How much time do you waste in the course of a day?
Too much?
That's a good answer. Number 2, you gotta stop making excuses. You just make excuses.
Yeah.
When are you gonna start? Tomorrow? Why not today?
Right.
I'm tired. Are you gonna be less tired tomorrow? Are you going to do something to make you less tired tomorrow? Or are you just assuming you'll wake up less tired tomorrow?
Nope. Every excuse.
Because other than that, all you did was waste time, which makes you make an excuse. Where you choose to be at this stage. At this point in time, you need the resource, you need the tool, you need the help of the Holy Spirit to get you out of bondage. But you can do it if you start making excuses. Number 3, start making plans. That's becoming smart where you're weak.
Amen.
Yeah, you'll never get to where you want to go without a plan. You need a plan.
And stick with it.
Stick with it. That's a good one. Some of y'all got great vision plans you've made for the last 20 years. That thing is gone by the second week in January. Number 4, start trusting God. Some of us do the first 3 real good until we get to trusting God. And when we get to this trusting God part, I worked in the Bible study 2 weeks ago. Most of us say we trust God, but we don't live like we trust God. And so as a result, our decision making is off because we say we're going to do one thing, but we feel like God's taking too long, so I jump in and I put my hand in it. God, I know you said you're going to send me somebody, so let me go look it. God, I know you said that you was going to give me the money, but let me go figure out how I can make the money. So we put ourselves, we run our families, and we lose this other stuff. And I'll deal with this some more next week. I'm not done with this series, and I couldn't drop it today like I wanted to. Come back next week, I'll finish it off there.
Amen.
But this trusting God piece, if Samson would have trusted God, this whole story would have been different. If he would have trusted the call of God on his life, oh man, eyes wouldn't have saw it.
Yeah.
Nobody would have believed it. The potential was there. The opportunity was there. He just didn't trust God. He didn't trust God to do what God said he would do in his life. And so his impulsiveness, his impatience, his desire to be validated by others, and him searching for something, overestimating his strength, kept getting him in trouble. And I just wonder if that's kind of some of our same stories. Some of us, we overestimate our strength. We think we're stronger than we are. We're impatient, impulsive, and need somebody to pat us on the back. All the time. All the time. All the time. God doesn't need our help. He does need our trust. Father, we thank you for who you are, for what you're doing and what you're doing. I pray, God, that by the power of your Spirit, that you will work in the hearts of your people, that we will ultimately come to the conclusion and realization that you are in control of everything, that you are who you said you are, that you can do what you said you can do. God, I pray for freedom. I pray for the realization that freedom can happen. That you intended for us to live different, walk different, parent different, love different, live different, talk different. Give us the strength to be okay with being different.
Amen.
Peculiar people is what your word says we are.
Yes.
We're in the world, but not of the world. Give us the strength and the courage that we need to be bold enough to believe you for the impossible. And then to go for it. Give us the sense to pray like it depends on you and then work like it depends on us.
Yeah.
Give us today. God, I pray you inspire somebody with a dream.
Amen.
That you'll place visions on their heart of just what you want to do in their life and through their life. Give them a vision for their family, a vision for their future. They're based upon your preferred outcome for all of our lives.
Yes, God.
So ultimately, as we commit the plans that you have for us back to you, as we get under your plans, as we submit to your plan for our finances, your plan for our future, your plan for our present, how you want us to live a principle-centered life. Not how culture teaches us, but how your word teaches us. Help us all submit to what you want to do. Give us focus, give us mentors, give us resources.
Yes, God.
Give us a willing heart to listen.
Amen.
Give us humility to submit. And to trust that you're at work. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. We are together, amen. Amen. And listen, if you're here and you need to make a decision today, I want you to make it quickly. If you need to make a decision, I want you to make it quickly. Make it quickly. Maybe you're here. You're without a church home. You haven't been baptized before. You need to be baptized. You need to make a decision. If you're watching online, you haven't been baptized, but you need to. You can make the decision right now. You can make it today. You need to be baptized. We'll be doing baptism next Sunday. I'd love for you to make it. You can stand, you can wave, you can fill out a connect card. If you're watching online, you can click the button that just says baptism. You can send us a message. However you got to do it, make the decision today. Second call is this: you need a church home. You're without a spiritual family. Listen, it's not a perfect place. If it was, you messed up when you came in. I messed up when I came in. But we are committed to seeing people reach, lives restored, generations impacted and empowered, all for His honor and all for His glory. I would love to welcome you into the spiritual family. If you're watching online or if you're here, you can check that second box on your connect card. You can stop by, see any one of us. You see Lorenzo, see Patrice, see me at the door. Let us know you're making the decision. You can also click the button on if you're watching online, it says get involved. You click that button there and let us know. I'd love to welcome you to our family. Yes. We'd love to welcome you in. If there's anybody else, you can make a decision today as well. We'll get all that connect card filled out from you. Last call is this. You want to get involved. You need to get in the game. There's two ways you can do it. One is you can fill out the connect card. We'll get in touch with you. You can stop by. You can see Amber after service at the connect table. One of the ladies at the connect table. Or you can come to Super Saturday. Not Super Saturday, slightly different, training day. All the stuff happens on Saturday, so I get them mixed up. Training day. This is vision casting. This is getting information about how to serve the church better. I love to see your trainer this coming Saturday. You can find information about how you can get involved there. Or send us a letter. Whatever you got to do. Click the box. Just get in the game. By any means necessary. Get in the game. There's work to be done. We have an incredible year that I believe God's leading us into. And we need as many hands as we can get to get this done. All right?
Amen.
All right. Celebrate those who made a decision wherever they are.